to be the flock master. What is up, alienARMy? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the flock master. And I don't know if this is a real thing, but
it is now because I fucking channeled it and maybe I just coined that term.
So this has a lot to do with my ponderings and channelings about the current events that are going on, but it's essentially true if we even want to take this back to biblical times, because when we are talking about the flock master, we're typically picturing the shepherd who is herding the sheep, and the sheep are just going wherever the fuck the flock master directs them to go, right? So they're not really in a space where they're in their own mind, like, why the fuck am I listening to this jerk off, right? They're just kind of just just following the flock master, okay? And why is this mentioned so many times in the Bible? Or even if you want to think of Jesus's teachings, the ascended master Jesus, what he's talking about, like sheep and shepherds and things like that. And it's been said a lot of other places, not just there, but that's like a famous example that came to mind. So when we're talking about the flock master, that is the shepherd, and everyone else who's following the shepherd, they are being herded like sheep. So why is sheep the most commonly used? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there might be some symbolism behind it, maybe in that shepherd sheep type of thing, but basically livestock can be herded, right? Cows can be herded, pigs can be herded, chickens can be herded. It's just we typically associate it with sheep. So with the current events, I see the word sheep being thrown around a lot. So here's the thing. If you are a flock master, the shepherd, you are not the sheep. You are not being herded with the rest of the crowd of the other sheep, and you are doing your own thing. You are the flock master. You are commanding the flock. So you're not someone who is going to be found just being herded along or prodded with a stick or anything like that, or being dangled a fucking breadcrumb in front of your nose, and you keep following it, and then they keep moving it further away from you, right? No. That's what a sheep does. The flock master, the shepherd, is the one who leads by example. Now, a shepherd can lead sheep into the fucking slaughterhouse. A shepherd can lead sheep away into a green motherfucking meadow, into safety, where they have all the grass they can munch on for the rest of their fucking happy ass lives. So the shepherd, the flock master, can be a good guy or he could be a bad guy. And the sheep, they could either be looked at as someone who was just mindlessly following the crowd and being prodded along by that flock master with an ulterior motive, with malicious intentions, or the sheep can view the flock master as someone who is guiding them to safety, to greener pastures, so to speak. So we have all these different types of poles here, right? So it's not that the flock master is this thing and the sheep are that thing, or vice versa. We have a positive aspect and a negative aspect for both of them, but typically we want to think of the flock master as someone who, no matter what, is looking at something or someone or an event or circumstance, whatever it is, from an above perspective. He stands over the sheep and he sees things that the sheep cannot, whether they are a detriment to the sheep, whether they are a benefit to the sheep. This is the one who is going to herd the sheep there based upon what he sees and what his intentions are. So the flock master is someone who does not look around at necessarily what all of their peers, other sheep are doing. The flock master is someone who is rising above the other sheep, rising above the peers, and looking at things from a different perspective. And everyone can do this. You do this, I do this. Everyone has done this at least one time at some point of another.
Whether they were aware of it or not. Because most motherfuckers ain't aware. I mean, we're just gonna throw that out there because it's the fucking truth.
But when you know, you know. So now you know. So the flock master is someone who does not follow the crowd. That's why we also have that famous saying, you know, the black sheep, which I prefer
the silver sloth.
But as that's just me. So that is someone that refuses to follow the crowd, and that is someone who actually is the black sheep that turns into the flock master, because they've already decided when they were that little baby sheep, they decided, these are my peers, these are other sheep, they are doing this. I don't know how well that sits with me. I'm going to look at things from a different perspective. Lightning bolt of inspiration. You know what? I think I would rather do this, and I don't care what the other sheep are doing. So that's why the black sheep is the one that typically you see a whole bunch of sheep moving this way, and you got one lone black sheep and he's moving the motherfucker this way, right? So that is how the flock master is developed, because they already are sort of viewing things not from the perspective of all of their peers, not things that are just at face value, not just things that are spoon-fed to them by others, which they have not deciphered for themselves to see if it resonates with them as a truth. So the black sheep is the one that turns into the flock master, the shepherd. So because the black sheep type of individual took it to another level to see things from a different perspective, they've grown and they've evolved, and now they metamorphosized, they transmutated themselves into the flock master. So a lot of times you can have a flock master who is controlling the sheep, and it depends what the intentions are. Like I said, you could have malicious motives, you can have benefic motives, it just depends. But typically the flock master is going to be that sort of guru that the black sheep are going to gravitate towards, because it's noticeable, right? Because remember, higher perspective, they're viewing things from a different perspective, a higher point of view, a higher frequency, so their energetic output is going to be stronger. And this is how the black sheeps, they move towards that side, because they're sensing that energy, they're picking up on that energy, and they're not picking up so much on the energy of their peers, the other sheep. So they are sensing that there is something more because of the energetic output of the flock master, the shepherd. And they could either be like,
wow, this shepherd is really fucking grand, he's leading us all to freedom, I want to follow him.
or
Who the motherfucker is this shepherd? Like he leading us to the slaughterhouse? Who the fuck told that motherfucker he had any authority over me?
that's typically how it works with the black sheep. So the flock master has graduated from the black sheep, and now this is someone who is a beacon to others. So some of the sheep, the regular sheep, they might want to be looking at the flock master like, okay, we'll just blindly do whatever he does, right? But they're never gonna decipher anything for themselves. They're just gonna kind of think that the flock master is out of reach for them, and they're just like, okay, well, it's sort of like a Jesus energy. Well, yeah, obey Jesus, and just, you're never gonna achieve that though, right? Which that's a bunch of bullshit, because Jesus said you can do as I do. So that's if the flock master has like a beneficial motive, right? He just wants to teach. But a lot of sheep, they stay stuck in that sheep mentality just because they don't, they don't feel like grasping that in this particular lifetime, right? It's easier for them to just follow the crowd. But the flock master has already been a sheep, whether it was lifetimes ago or whatnot. They've already been a sheep, because that's how they became the motherfucking flock master, okay? Because you go through stages, you metamorphosize, you have an evolution, you have an involution, you have a revolution, right? You do that all within yourself, and then you realize that at one point, even if it was fucking a million lifetimes ago in another dimension, you too were a sheep at that mentality where it was just easier to go with the flow of where everyone else was going and not question anyone, right? Not look at the fucking flock master like, who the motherfucker you telling me what to do? And then they graduated from that sheep to now they're the black sheep. So now they're like, something ain't right about this, something ain't jiggy up in here, so let me look the other way. Behold, a flock master. What do they see that I do not? Let me study, let me do some undertakings with him so I may learn his ways, right? Like that's how it kind of works. So once the black sheep is finding their own inner guru, like they see the flock master, which is pretty much someone who's going to tell you everything that I do, you can do as well. So the black sheep is like, oh, word? Okay, shit, that sounds good, homie. And then the black sheep metamorphosizes, and now they become their own flock master because they have learned the ways of the other flock master. And that is just typically how energy evolves, like on this lifetime and things like that. It's like at some point motherfuckers were sheep, then they turned into the black sheep, and now it's like, oh,
I'm the flock master, motherfucker. I heard the sheep. I guide the sheep.
it's like you see things that the sheep do not. And no matter your intentions, whether it's malicious, whether it's benefic, you know, everyone is different, depending on what you're doing. Now you have mastered the art of being the flock master, and now you can have more of an influence over those who see things from just a 3D perspective and not a higher perspective. So you automatically are going to have more influence just because you're looking down into the 3D from your higher perspective, from your higher state of mind, and you're like, oh, I see this, I see that, they don't see that, maybe I'll guide them towards there, but I can't make them fucking see, you know, only they can do that, right? So then you have the knowledge of the motherfucking flock master. So that's what I got for you today. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon.